All right. I think we are officially live here on this Friday morning. It is July 23rd. And we are, we're going to talk today a little bit about bad niches. And the reason why is because, yesterday I was talking about this new idea that I had. Actually, it's not much of a new idea. It's just something that I'm starting to focus more on. And I'm starting to think about it a little bit differently. And that's what I'm calling our niche properties. And that's, in a sense, like real estate without all of the headaches and the expense and everything that goes into real estate. And I talked about it yesterday, and the feedback has been great. And I also talked about possibly doing an upcoming workshop, teaching it. It would be like a one-day type deal. And still toying with the idea, but I'm leaning towards yes, I'm going to do it. If you are interested in actually attending that in the future, I'm not sure when I'm going to do it. It'll be sometime in August. If you didn't receive the email I sent out today, you can always just drop a little comment in here and just say interested or yes, I'd like to attend. And then we can get you the information. It's going to be easier if you go through the email. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, though, is bad niches and the niches that I would avoid. And it was funny because yesterday we had our Brand Creators Academy monthly call. We have 2 calls every month. And one of the questions came in about this person's niche. And I don't want to give it away. But he was asking if he should go in this niche because, very, very competitive, but also could be along the lines of, I don't want to say like it's just could be regulated. Okay. And what I mean by that is like the government could get involved and stuff like that. And that can get a little bit more risky, but there are ways to get around that. But the couple of niches or the niches that I would stay away from, I'm going to bring them up in today's coffee talk. So I want this to be all about, or this theme of this jam session is really about niches, what ones are good, which ones are bad, and we'll go a little bit deeper into that. So we won't go too long here today, and I'll just give you my thoughts on this. So if you have any questions on this, let me know. But I'm really excited about this. We're actually what I love about this is we're actually doing it, right? Like we're doing it. We've been doing this we've done it on a few different brands. One of them that we recently sold, it was like a hybrid because we had content on a site that was bringing in some revenue just from the content. And then we had a physical product side of it as well. The 2 niches that we're building inside, or the niche properties that we're building inside of the Academy, we have been now for just about 18, 19 months. Those are on track to hit the numbers that we want them to hit. And really, we want to hit $1,000 net after all expenses and everything. We want that to net cash flow like a rental property would. So that's kind of like our analogy. But those 2 niches, we have one of them that has physical products in a sense. We have Etsy store attached to it, and we're getting ready to start. Actually, we just launched it yesterday, I believe it was. And we have another Etsy shop that's going with the other one. But the third one that we're about to start, which I'm going to probably make part of this workshop when we do it, is it's not going to be probably with an Etsy shop. And I can't say for certain, but I don't think so. And probably not within the first 12 months. We're going to be basically building it out. And we've already got the niche selected, or there's actually a couple sub niches that we're going to be doing. And then from there, we're going to be building it out with the content, just like we talk about here on the Coffee Talks and on the podcast. But we are in the, let's see, we broke ground. We're pouring the footings and we're getting ready to start putting up the walls. That's what we're doing. And I just love this because it's full circle for me, is I'm building stuff and I'm using the analogy of building a house or rental properties. And it's what I've done in the past in my former life. My days of being a contractor and doing the construction. And, I dabbled in the real estate, single family homes. I do have an Airbnb now. So it's really, really, it's related in a sense that it's the same principles. So with that all being said, can you guys give me a thumbs up if whoever here is live, if you're hearing me okay, loud and clear, and the video is coming through okay. And then we're going to go ahead and get this thing going. All right. Because I got to head back out again today. We're heading to, where are we going this weekend? Wilmington again. We're going to do another beach volleyball tournament. So a little overnighter, not too bad, but I'm excited. All right, cool. And I see that we do have a question coming in already, and we'll answer that at the end of my little bit here. Loud and clear, Karen says. Well, Karen, thank you. Karen, good to see you too, by the way. All right, cool. So coffee in hand, I'm ready to rock. Here we go. All right, guys, welcome back to another Friday jam session. Today, what we're going to be talking about, well, it's about niches. And you guys have probably heard the riches are in the niches, or maybe you haven't. You just heard it for the first time, but it's true. But what we're going to be talking about today is the niches that I would avoid. And this question came up yesterday on one of our Brand Creators Academy calls. We have 2 monthly calls. And it came up as far as the niche that he was getting ready to launch in, wanted to know, is this a niche that I should pursue? For 2 reasons. One, it's competitive, very competitive. And the second reason is because it could be regulated by the government, which then makes it a little uneasy, right? So this made me say, you know what, we should probably discuss some niches, right? Like what niches, and I do get that question. I'm like, Scott, what niche would you avoid if there's any? Like, is there any that you would just stay clear of? And the answer is yes, I would actually stay clear. And it's not just even just one niche. It's kind of like that market as a whole that I would probably stay away from. Now, there are ways that you can kind of get around it where you're not in the market or the niche, but it's still a little bit too close for me. So I would usually lean against it or away from it. And the reason is because there's so much other opportunities out there that we don't have to go into that, right? Unless it's like a passion of yours. If it's a passion of yours and you're like, well, I can't avoid it, I got to go into this thing. Well, then you're going to be able to do it, but it could be an uphill battle. It could be riskier because you could, face possibly your site getting de-indexed by Google because they don't want other people to see it. They don't want the information being put out there. They could get, it could be something that gets shut down by, an organization. Like there's all different reasons on why that could happen. But I do believe there's a lot of opportunity out there still. Now, this morning I wrote an email, and I kind of want to talk about this before we do dive into the niches that I would avoid. And the reason why is because I did an episode, the one before this actually, where it was, and let me see here. I don't want to go off memory. Creating niche properties that generate true passive income. And I did a coffee talk, and I, broadcasted that on the podcast. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, that's where that came from. But this idea of creating these niche properties is, to me, the same as building real estate. Okay. And I wrote an email about it this morning, and I tried to sum it all up in an email. And a lot of times it's hard for me to do that because I got to go into detail, and I don't want the email to be like, 400 pages long, and plus I don't like to write all that much. But in a nutshell, this is the way that I look at this. Okay. When we're looking at, if I was to go out there and look at land to build something on, right? I'm going to look at a few different things. Okay. If I'm turning this into a piece of rental property, I'm looking at the land, and then I'm looking at the surroundings of the land, right? I'm looking at the location, right? We've always heard that if you're going to start a business, you got to go in the right location. So you got enough people to come in the door. The same thing as a piece of rental property. You can get really cheap property way, way out in the woods, right? And you can get really cheap property there, right? But it's too far away from things, and people aren't going to want to drive. So it's not really that great for an investment, right? But if we find a place that might just need to be fixed up, or we know that there's a certain area there, we could either buy a cheap piece of land maybe, or even pay a good amount of money for the land as long as it's going to positive cash flow over time, right? And when we go into this, we're looking at that. It's very similar to choosing a niche, right? The cool thing is if we find the niche, we can pretty much build anywhere we want on the internet, right? And then we're going to direct the traffic over to the site. So it's very similar to, I got to find the piece of property. I need to make sure that it's in a good location, good niche, and I need to validate that the numbers are there, right? There's enough people in that area. And we also have to look at the numbers. Are people willing to pay to rent that place? Same thing with a niche site. If I'm looking at a niche site, I got to say, okay, does this niche get traffic? Okay. Is there enough traffic for me to take some of it? And then the other part of it is, are there ad networks? Is there affiliate products? Is there digital products? Is there things that are being purchased, or that advertisers want to get in front of that audience? Is there money there to be made? So that's what we're looking at. So it's very, very similar. The difference is this, is if you go and do I'm going to go find a piece of property, I'm going to go ahead and renovate it, I'm going to do all that stuff. I mean, it could be $200,000 to buy a house and then another 50 to put into it to renovate it. So you're at 250, you get a down payment, you get, your mortgage on the property, and then you want a positive cash flow. How much are you going to get for rent, right? So if I pay $1,200 for my rent, for my mortgage, and maybe, I don't know, getting the lawn mowed or whatever else needs to be done to maintain that property. If I can charge $1,500, I made $300, and I'm hoping in the next 5 to 10 years, it appreciates. And then I get that extra when I go to sell, or I can pull it out as a line of credit or something like that, right? I still have to wait for it. With one of these niche properties, I can go find the niche, find the location, right? I can find that there's something already there that's already working, and then I can start to build it. And it might take me 12 to 18 months before I start to see that income coming in. And it might start off at $200, then it might go to 500, it might go to 1,000. And then we're netting that money after we've put in the time and investment. And then we can start another one if we want to, or we can just continue to grow that one if there's enough there to be grown, right? So that's the whole philosophy behind it. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because if you missed that last episode, you probably want to go back and listen to it, because I went a little bit deeper. But that's the thought process here. And I had someone email me this morning and said, Scott, I've been in real estate for years, and how you detail that out in this email makes me see that this is so similar, but yet it's so much better and easier to do a niche property versus doing a physical, piece of property, which they're both good, right? But you're going to need the money to invest into that property that's already, rentable. Is that a word? Rentable. I think so. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. So the very first part of this is the niche that I want to, basically build this niche property. Is it a good niche? And does it check the boxes, right? So that's the first step. But there are some niches, and like there's some areas, right, in here, in this area that I would never want to rent. It's not safe, right? Maybe the type of clientele isn't what I'm looking for, right? Like whatever, right? I'm just going to stay away from that, right? And so that's where it comes down to, like, you're going to know these certain niches, okay? So to get to it, the first niche, and it's not even like one specific niche, it's like the market as a whole, anything that has to do with medical, health, okay? Now, health could be like, okay, fitness and health. We can talk a little bit about diet. We're not really into the medical, but we could be considered it. So you got to kind of be careful there. If you're into fitness, well, we can go into fitness without it being medical, as long as we're not giving medical advice. Okay. So, and the reason why I wouldn't go into that space, now fitness I would, but I wouldn't go into, something that is more medical based, because a couple different reasons. Number one, it's more of a liability for the site owner, because if someone goes there and gets information that wasn't the right information, because you just wrote about it, you didn't have a doctor actually give the sign off of that, you could be, giving out misinformation that could be harmful, right? It could hurt people. So that's number one. Number two is Google is looking at that type of content differently, and there's more filters that you need to get through in order for them to actually start to rank you. Okay. And there's a variety of different factors, but ones that I don't even care to understand or know because I'm not going in that area and I wouldn't go in that area. Okay. Personally. So that's the very first thing that I'll say. Anything that is medical, anything that is giving medical advice, any of that stuff, I would stay clear. Okay. And there has been updates. I forget the name of it, but there's been a recent update where it's in that market and in that space, anything medical, like there's sites that were publishing that got that they got hit. They got the Google slap. And basically they had rankings and then they lost their rankings. So imagine getting 50,000 people to your website every single month, and then it goes down to, 500 people, right? Your traffic is what you were making your money on, because if you're on an ad network and you're making $1,000 on that 50,000, page views a month, and it goes to 500, you went from 1,000 to maybe $5, right? So that's why I wouldn't want to do that. It's almost like building your house in an area that is starting to go down or that is risky, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen in the future. It's very, very risky. Okay. And it's going to be harder, right? Another analogy would be like, okay, if I go over there, it's a good area, but it's sand. I can dig in sand. It's going to be way easier to dig in that sand than if I go over here and the land is still pretty good, but I got to dig through shale, right? Or rock, right? Way easier over here than over here. I'm going to go over here because it's easier and there's plenty of land with that easy digging. Okay. So that's my first thing. Okay. Anything medical, anything health. The second area that I would say is anything that is considered illegal. Okay. And there's some states that it's going to be legal and there's some states that it's going to be illegal. I mean, the first one that comes to mind for me is like poker or gambling, right? In some states, some areas, it's legal, but that's going to be regulated by the government. I guarantee that, right? And so you have to be careful. The other thing is if you build a site, are there enough advertisers that are willing to go on a site for that? Is Mediavine going to let you? If you go to Mediavine and you look at the different niches that they will not allow ads to be displayed on, I don't know. Gambling, poker, any of that stuff might be on there. I don't know. But it could be. So you might want to do that research before you go into that market. Another one that comes to mind is, even medical marijuana. Like now it's becoming legal everywhere. I'm not sure that I would want to still go down that road because it could be taken away. And I don't think it will be. That also could be considered medical. It's also illegal in some areas. So is Google going to allow you to rank as quick? I don't know. But to me, it's not worth it. There's plenty of other land out there that I can go stake my flag in the ground and go, I'm going to build right there. Okay. So I would stay away from that type of stuff. Anything illegal, like I said, anything that, like right now might be borderline or it's going to be regulated. I know a lot of markets out there for like even stock trading and stuff like that. Got to be kind of careful with that stuff. It's people's money. If you're giving any advice on that, like I'd be careful with that. I mean, Forex has been out there for years and I just would not want to go into that space. So just, again, common sense comes into this a lot. But there's plenty of niches out there. There's a niche that a guy has built a site and a business around it on teaching people how to do a handstand. $100,000 a month business teaching people how to do handstands. Now, I'm not saying like just to go do just a traditional handstand and like walking on your hands, probably gymnast type stuff, but handstands. Okay. There's plenty of other niches out there that we can go into. All right. So those are the ones that just right off the top of my head that I would stay away from. Okay. Now, if you are watching this or listening to this, and you have a niche that you're wondering if you would go into that niche. Head over to takeactioncrew.com if you're listening to this, and then put your name and email address in there, and then you'll get an email from me, and then just email me with your niche of what you're thinking about. And I could give you well, I probably wouldn't go into that if you're in question. If you're listening to this or watching this on the Facebook Live or on Facebook, you can go ahead and just drop that in the comments, and I can take a look at it. All right. So that's my thoughts on what niches to avoid. That is what I wanted to discuss here today. Now, I have mentioned this is the second time talking about this niche properties thing. And this is something that I'm considering doing a workshop. It will be a paid workshop. I'll just throw that right out there. If you are interested in that and you're not on my email list yet, number one, get on the email list. You can do that by heading over to takeactioncrew.com. And you'll hear more about it. But what I'm doing right now is I'm kind of building a wait list of people that are interested. And if there's enough people that are interested, I will teach a workshop where I'm going to break down how we're doing it. I'll give you real examples. Actually, a third one that we're getting ready to build, I'm going to use as an example, but I'm also going to show you two of them that are already kind of matured a little bit. And then on top of that, we're going to, kind of like share with you how you can do this, even if you don't want to do the work. The two sites that I'm currently building out right now that are starting to get momentum, I spend less than an hour a week on those. I look at it as though I'm the general contractor in a sense. Again, I'm going always back to the building analogies because that's kind of where I come from. And it's very, very similar. Like I'm the GC, I'm the general contractor. I've got people, okay? And I mean people, like I've got one person that writes and one person that publishes. I do a lot of the research myself. So I'm the guy that's kind of looking at the land out there, and I'm looking at the opportunities in the land and how to, build it the best. And then we just kind of send direction. But I'm going to show how I'm doing that and how you can model that. Now, you can do this as if you were to build a house by investing in writers or content creators and things like that. Or you can do the work yourself, right? I built my first house because I wanted to save money. I was 20, how old was I? 24. I built my own house in 11 months and I was working full time. Some of you already know that story. And the reason why I did it is, number one, I wanted to build my own house all the way from the ground up, and I wanted to save money, and I did. But as I got, older and I didn't need to do all the work myself, then I started learning how I could know how the job needed to get done, and I could do maybe 10% of the work, and then 90% I could just outsource. And that's what I'm doing here with these niche properties. And that's what I plan on doing. I'm going to build a portfolio of these. Some of them I'm going to hold and keep renting in a sense. And then some of them I'm going to flip and I'm going to sell. But that's the goal. Okay. So if you're interested in this, like I said, head on over to takeactioncrew.com. Make sure that you get on that email list. And then send me an email if you would, or you'll just start getting notified more about this, because as we move forward, I'm going to be talking more about the workshop, if I'm going to do it and when I'm going to do it and who it will be for. So definitely make sure that you do that. All right. But that is today's Friday jam session. Now what I'm going to do, and this is part of our live that we do here every Friday. So again, another reason why you want to be part of the Take Action crew is we're going to do some live Q&A right now. So I'm going to see what questions we have in the queue, and we'll go ahead and get those addressed. All right, here we go. First one. How many articles do you write minimum on these sites to get around 50 to 60,000 page views? That will depend. Right now, currently, we have roughly between 200 and 300 pieces of content on those sites. One of them is just touching 50,000 page views. The other one has hit 75,000. Because we're going, it's in the summertime, so it's dropping a little bit, but there's still signs of it going to be increasing. And we're hovering right around that 60,000 mark. So you don't need a ton. Now, I know that sounds like a lot to a lot of people. It's like, oh, wow, that seems like that's unachievable. No, it is achievable. And it just takes consistency and also understanding what search terms to go after, and really how to get that momentum going, right? And how to build it out. So the goal is to get to 50,000 page views or sessions, because then we can turn on Mediavine. Mediavine and Ezoic, I'm running them both on 2 different sites, and Mediavine is paying more. Some people have said Ezoic pays more. So it just depends on the market and the niche. But to get to 50 to 60,000, not as hard as you think. Even getting to 30,000, even 25,000, you can still get upwards, making $500 to $1,000 depending on the market, depending on your affiliate offers, because you're going to also promote Amazon affiliate products and stuff. But yeah, so I would say you want to shoot for 100 to 150 in the first 12 months. That would be my goal, which basically, let's just say 2 articles a week. Yeah. 52 weeks, 100. Yeah. That would be like baseline. Okay, cool. Do you ever stop writing articles on any of your sites? If so, when, after, how many articles? No, I wouldn't. What I would do is I would back off. So in the very beginning, we're going to go really hard. So like right now, we're getting ready to kind of blitz the market a little bit, or the niche, with a whole bunch of articles for this one niche that we're going into, right? And so what my goal is to get 20 articles up as quick as I can. And I say as quick as I can, probably in the next month, right? That'll be like 20 articles. And then what we'll do is we'll back down a little bit, maybe go 10 to 12 per month and do that for a while. And then we might back down to where we're doing just, I don't know, 6 to 8 a month. But the cool thing is if that site is making, let's say, $1,500, I'm not going to spend $500 on articles. I'll probably only spend $200 to $300. Or if you're writing them yourself, you're spending nothing, right? So it's kind of like that. You buy the piece of property, you're going to pay for the property with a mortgage, and then you're going to take the net. Well, in this case, the only thing that we're really paying for is the content. I mean, the website, and that doesn't cost much. It's like under $30 a month for everything. So yeah, so you do want to keep putting money into it, because that's going to continually make your traffic go up, and it's going to allow you to rank faster too, because you have more authority at that point. Let's see. The Scooby Life. You are now building a house with your mind instead of your hands. Digital properties, inventory. Exactly. Yep. That's 100% it. Would you start building one for 12 months and then add next one and do for a year? Or can you add niche sites faster as you outsource? Again, depends on the individual, depends on what you want to do this for. And if you're just starting, you might want to just say, you know what, I'm going to do one of these for 12 months. I'm going to build it out for 12 months, stay consistent, and learn that process. And then maybe after the 12-month mark, you're going to go ahead and start your second one. Or if you feel that you're capable of doing it and you're not going to get overwhelmed with it and you're starting to get the rhythm, maybe after 3 or 4 months, you start another one. But these are not supposed to be, in a sense, a brand, right? A big brand. And I say big brand, one that you want to create your own presence. You want to build up your own authority. It's a personal brand. That's not what we're talking about here. These are supposed to be kind of like hands off, and you could sell these if you wanted to. So that's kind of the way that I'm looking at this. Do you hire writers from iWriter? Some. Actually, I've used FreeUp, which I'm actually talking to someone right now on FreeUp that I've used in the past, which we're looking to get more writers for this newer site, because I want to blitz the market. And yeah, so you can go to iWriter, you can use FreeUp, you can use Upwork, you can use Fiverr. I don't know about Fiverr, but yeah, or you might know someone in your family you can pay, $20 an article for or something, right? Oh, Helene. Hey, Helene. Thanks for this talk. I've got a friend who's considering going into the medical niche. Besides needing to prove you're legitimate, I forgot Google has this extra hurdles, not the area for me. Yeah, me neither. So I'd be careful with that. Let's see here. Is it advisable to blitz an existing blog with extra posts for a week or so, then go back to one a week, or does that confuse Google? No, what I want people to understand is if you post 1 article a week, 10 articles a week, I don't believe, and I can't say for sure because I'm not Google, I don't think Google cares, right? It's not like YouTube where you're trying to play that algorithm where they're like, oh, frequency, or oh, shorts, or this, that. It's more about that content you're putting into the market. For me, is so that way there I have more pieces of content that gets mature over 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, right? So there's content right now that we published 6 months ago that's just starting to get traction. Okay. So it's about trying to get 20 pieces of content there quickly that are good, though. You don't want garbage. So this way here in 6 months, you got 20 pieces that are going to be working for you versus, however many, like let's just call it 10, right? Because now they're mature. And after you do those 20, you might scale it back to where you're going to do 1 article a week, and that's 4 a month. And you're still adding to that queue. But remember, after 6 months, you've got 4 articles that have matured from that point, but you got the 20 that you did before that are now 7 months mature. So that's kind of how I look at that. I would say if you created 10 articles and you're like, I'm going to publish these like in a week, but then you're not going to publish again for 8 weeks, then I wouldn't do it. I would drip them out. But if you're going to put those out into, get indexed, and then you're going to continually feed, I'm okay with that. I just wouldn't let the blog sit idle. I would just have kind of, you're constantly poking the fire. Let's see. So Nicholas says, good morning, Scott. Good morning. Why do you slowly back off on posting so many articles? Well, again, because we don't want to have to stay at that rate. So it's really a way for us to accelerate the ranking for these articles, because in 6 months we'll have double or triple, quadruple the amount. That's the reason why. And then we just kind of back down a little bit. But if you are at the place where it's netting you $5,000 and you want to invest $1,000 in content every month, nothing wrong with that, right? So we're kind of looking at it like, okay, how much is it making? How much we're going to reinvest at that point and keep fueling it. So that's kind of what we look at. But every situation is going to be a little bit different. Do you ever do ads and send traffic to blogs? Okay, so yes, in some cases, but not for traffic, not for the traffic that you're thinking about. I would only take a blog that was more product based off of like information though. So it's like, five best fishing lures you must have in 2021. Right. And then you would then run an ad to that. But inside of that, you're also selling your 5 lures. Right. So you're educating people and then you're selling inside of that. That's the only way that I would ever drive traffic to a blog post personally, or if it's a lead magnet. Yes. Blitz, then back to weekly. Thanks. Yes, that's exactly it. And yeah, so just, you want to blitz that niche whenever you can, right? Whenever you can. Okay, one last question here, and then we're going to rock and roll. I got to get out of here. We have a beach tournament again this weekend. Those of you guys that have been following along, we've been hardcore beach volleyball around here, which is a lot of fun. Okay, what is your strategy to finding the best keywords for your blogs to add to your website? I would always start with question-based posts. Like that would be it. Can you lose weight over 40? Can men lose weight over 40? Best exercise for men to build muscle over 40? Like those types of questions, right? Like I would go after questions, and I would also then sprinkle in some product-based posts. Okay, I got another one. I'll answer this one last one. Can blogs and contents be used for driving traffic to Amazon business listings? What would be an effective way to do this? Yes, it would. Here's the deal. Okay, right now, currently, I'm not selling physical products on Amazon right now. I'm taking a break, okay? But I am selling affiliate products, okay? So if I'm writing content about the 5, best fishing lures, they might be your fishing lures, right? But if you're the product owner and you wrote that, it's going to be traffic coming directly to your product. I'm just going to earn 3 to 5% commission, right? You're going to sell your product. So for you as the product owner, you should be writing content that drives qualified traffic to your listing. So it could be, like I said, what did I use the example for the other day? I don't know. For some reason, I'm thinking like palm trees again, right? So maybe it's like, maybe you sell like palm tree fertilizer, specially designed for palm trees. I'm making this up. I have no idea if that even exists. And so you would write an article on best fertilizer for palm trees, the 5 best fertilizers for palm trees. Or let's say that you sold a wrap that went around the base for the winter time. Best protective burlap for palm trees. And then that's your product, right? So you write specifically targeting people that are looking for your product. And then that content will always be working for you 24/7, right? So that's another way of doing it. For us, what we're doing is we're building this niche property. And then what we're doing is we're like, okay, what products are the market buying? We're going to write content around those. So people that are searching for best fishing lures, bass fishing lures for ponds, we're going to write an article on that. We're also going to write an article on, can you catch bass in a pond, or can you use rubber worms in a pond? And then that will also mention the lures and all of that other stuff, right? So that's what we're doing, but we're doing it where we're linking to affiliate offers, whether that's on Amazon, Etsy, ClickBank, wherever. And then we're also doing content creation for questions to just answer these search queries so they come over to our site, which will get credit for traffic from Mediavine, Ezoic, AdThrive, and then we'll get paid just for traffic arriving to the site. That's the model. Like, very, very simple. All right. So with that all being said, guys, I got to go. This, again, was our Friday jam session. If you want to attend a live jam session and you're not here live and you're listening to this on the podcast, head on over to takeactioncrew.com. And if you're interested in building out one of these niche properties or even building a portfolio down the line, then definitely make sure you go to that page as well, takeactioncrew.com. You can get on the email list. That's where I'll be talking about what's coming and the workshop that we might be doing. You can get more details on it over there. All right, guys. So that's it. That's going to wrap it up. As always, take care, take action, have an awesome, amazing day, and I'll see you on the next episode. Cut. All right, guys. That is officially going to wrap it up. I do have to go, and I've got to get ready. We got to get on out of here. I've got some stuff going on here this morning, and I got a meeting. I got 2 meetings, and then got to pack up, and we got to roll. So, guys, have an awesome weekend, like I said. And if you are interested in attending the workshop, when and if we do it, which I'm leaning towards yes, for the niche properties, then I'm going to go ahead and drop a link. Once we get done here, I'll drop a link in there to a form where you can actually add your name and email address to that. And then that way there, we're going to be able to let you know more about it. Okay. So that's it, guys. Have an awesome day. Like I said, have a great weekend. Hopefully the sun is shining when you are, and just try to relax. Think of some niches, though. That's your homework. Think of some niches. What are some niches that could potentially turn into a niche property? I don't know. Let's think about it. Start thinking. All right. We'll see you guys.